Hello, horror fans, and welcome to the Graveyard Ghouls. I'm Ghastly.
I'm gruesome.
And tonight we're going to be talking about Krampus, specifically 2015's movie Krampus, directed by... Who directed this thing?
Michael
Dougherty?
Dougherty? Yeah.
Yeah, Dougherty. Michael Dougherty.
He's mostly a writer. He wrote for Superman Returns that got off the...
We can't blame him. We
Yeah.
can try not to blame him. That one had a lot of interference from studios.
But yeah, he's mostly a writer, but he took the directing chair on this one and a writing chair on this one. But yeah.
All right, it seemed like the ideal sort of thing to do for a first episode because it's the holidays right now. We were hoping to get this ready for Christmas, but we decided New Year's was the better choice. Krampus is a pre-Christian Alpine region demon, a Germanic sort of thing. He's described as being half demon, half goat. And he's one of the few scary Christmas things that went anything resembling mainstream, despite there being a few of them. The Yule Lads, Father Whipper, etc. A lot of them follow the same idea. If Santa brings good things to the good children, somebody has to punish the naughty children.
The one with hooves.
Yeah. Krampus, like I said, he's half goat, half demon. He's got the goat legs and the goat face, this stupid long tongue that he's usually depicted sticking out at you.
Oh god, I've seen those pictures.
Yep. And he carries a switch, like the old-timey wooden thing that you'd beat a naughty child with.
Yeah.
He carries one of those and a big basket or sack.
The nuns had those.
Yeah, and if you're naughty, he beats you with the stick, and if you're really naughty, he puts you in his sack and drags you off to hell.
They said,
Merry Christmas, children.
So, some guy said once, so what if we gave Santa Claus hooves and it's for the bad kids? And somebody said, are we sure we want to do that? And someone said...
We're Germany, why not? It's
Germany,
what we do. It is worth noting that depending on the legend you go with, because it's a myth, Krampus is either a demon who has been enslaved and wrapped in chains by Santa Claus, St. Nicholas, to force him to serve him and punish naughty children, or... he's a demon who gets off on punishing kids so much that he willingly said, hey, St. Nicholas, I want to work with you. I think we can get a good thing going here. And St. Nicholas said, yeah, sure, why not? I'm German, St. Nicholas.
Oh, jeez.
So that's Krampus.
This 2015 movie, we got some stars here. We got Adam Scott from Parks and Rec fame, and he was in Step Brothers. But Adam Scott, mostly I know him from Parks and Recreation, which was a great comedy show.
That one's fun.
Toni Collette, she was in Hereditary. And apparently she was in Knives Out. Cool.
Yeah, which just came out and was fun.
And then David Koechner from Anchorman fame and Get Smart. And
Get Smart's hilarious.
You've seen him. He's a great comedy actor.
And that's the thing. 2015's Krampus is a horror comedy. And the director and writer said, we had to make it a horror comedy because to lose the comedy elements and do a straight horror would be to lose something about Krampus. Because the thing is, as creepy as he is, in the countries that believe in him, there's a lot of almost Halloween-y traditions. Young men in their early 20s or late teens will dress up as Krampus and go door to door, knocking on the door and demanding if there are any naughty children there, and they'll get cakes or whatever. And Krampusnacht is not actually the same as Christmas. It's Krampus Night is what it literally translates to, and it's a few weeks earlier. Let me look up the exact date. The point is, he's seen as kind of... Here we go. It's the Feast of St. Nicholas is celebrated in parts of Europe on the 6th of December. The preceding evening of 5th December is Krampus Night, or Krampusnacht. And the thing is, they don't just dress up. You can see a lot of old-timey Christmas cards or Krampus cards with a picture of Krampus either stealing your kids or seducing your women, always as a goat demon guy. And they all have, and this is going to come up in the movie a little bit, they all have this little traditional greeting. Graus von Krampus. And I don't know if I screwed up the German there or not, but what it literally means is greetings from Krampus. So you'd see, the creepy goat guy grabbing your kids and stuffing them into a sack. Greetings from Krampus. It's a fun thing. Sort of like how nobody's above the age of 18 really scared of Halloween. Speaking of Halloween, the last thing before we jump into this film, the director of this movie is the same guy who directed the classic Trick or Treat.
Oh, okay.
Which has a similar idea of... that Trick or Treat's more of an anthology, but it is the same sort of idea of people screw with a holiday and the holiday spirits come for them.
Now, I have a question because I remember seeing the trailers for this in the theater when it came out, and it struck me as almost a home invasion movie.
A little bit.
Okay.
A little bit. It does a few things. First off, it's the only PG-13 horror movie I've ever seen that does a good job at that.
Okay.
Largely because they played into the horror comedy elements, and largely because they're smart about what they show and what they don't. It doesn't rely on a lot of jump scares. It uses a lot of atmosphere, which more horror movies could stand to do. And it does sort of have a home invasion feel. The movie, and you'll see this, and I don't want to spoil too much, but it deliberately apes a couple of other holiday classics so that it gives you this warm and glowy feeling of, oh, it's just like such and such a holiday movie.
I'm going to see some Rankin Bass characters walk through the front door.
Not exactly, but like it does kind of go in that route a little bit. There's several times where it makes you feel all warm and fuzzy inside, like, oh, classic Christmas movie, and then, oh god, Christmas demons. So, yeah, without further ado, let's have some holiday eggnog of good cheer, and let's put on 2015's Krampus.
Merry Krampus, everybody.
We'll see you guys after the film. And we're back. What a film, right?
It was interesting. It was interesting. Let's talk about the opening sequence first.
Okay,
Black Friday, I'm assuming.
Or last minute Christmas shopping.
Yeah, whatever.
Either way, with the serene, peaceful Christmas music and the people beating the hell out of each other.
Like that one woman who whacked the other, whatever, with the skateboard.
I think my favorite part about that isn't just the insanity of people beating the hell out of each other for Christmas gifts, which is something we've all seen, but that the film is smart enough to push it a little bit further, like with the security guards gleefully tasing the customers, or a guy falling off of his ladder and getting trampled.
Yeah, but honestly, that doesn't happen anymore. We're all, like, it's all online shopping now.
Sure.
Rick and Mortar's being,
but I mean, it's not like it never happened. I mean...
Yeah.
Back in when
back
I grew
in the
up,
day, yeah.
When I grew up, back when it was, I think the new Xbox came out.
Oh,
there was
yeah.
an incident outside of a Best Buy or something when the new Xbox had come out. There were people waiting in the trees by the parking lot with baseball bats, and they literally jumped down on people and clubbed them to steal the Xboxes. So it's not that much of an exaggeration. You were saying during the movie, though, and it was the same thought I had when I first watched it, you want these people to get Krampus.
Oh, yeah. The whole, everyone's a little bit grumpy and just awful in the beginning. Unpleasant in the beginning of the movie.
I think the only two characters who categorically aren't unpleasant are the grandmother and the baby. And the baby's only not unpleasant because she can't talk. She does poop herself first time we see her. So.
Even Max is a little
he's a little bit of a brat.
He starts to fight in the beginning of the movie.
He's playing Rudolph in a Christmas. I love that the Christmas pageant has Mary and Joseph and the baby Jesus, but also a Christmas tree Santa and Rudolph. I want to see that.
Okay,
he drop kicks the kid playing Joseph into the manger.
Okay, I wanna voice something that I hate in movies. Okay. When adults talk casually business with their children, it's almost annoying.
A little bit, and the dad's guilty of that in this, but I think it's not a case of the writers being dumb and not remembering how kids are. It's the case that the writers wrote the dad as a guy who can't remember how kids are. His biggest flaw is how passive he is.
Yeah,
but why doesn't he stop this?
In the very next scene he has with the kid, he's just like, he's kind of like, listen, I think we should all be generous to each other and all that stuff, and yeah, I'm trying to believe this too, but like, I don't believe it.
Don't admit to your kid that you don't believe the stuff you're preaching. Lie to your kids. That's the message from the Graveyard Ghouls this New Year's. Lie to your kids.
Lie to your kids.
Well,
but I love every scene that Adam Scott is in this movie. He's
good. Honestly, all the actors in this are good, and the director, between this and Trick or Treat, has such a great visual design that he brings together. Everything about this movie early on screams Christmas, and then everything beyond that starts to scream really creepy, warped Christmas.
Yeah.
Like something Seth MacFarlane's Twisted series would do.
Everybody has their moments in this movie. I think especially when they want to highlight the good things about these people, they always choose a moment and they're always like, this is the moment, we're going to highlight something.
And it doesn't feel telegraphed, but it's very good. You hate all of them right off the bat. Like the first thing you meet them all, you hate them all. And by the time they do get taken by Krampus, spoilers, you don't want them to so much anymore because they've shown that deep down they have redeeming qualities. Maybe they're not good people, but they're people. They're not caricatures.
Yes.
I mean, granted, the end. Oh, let's talk about the ending for a minute here. If you haven't seen the movie, go watch the movie. Pause it when we say we'll see you after the movie. Go watch Krampus and then come back with us. But
spoilers for a more than almost 5-year-old movie now.
But the ending, at first you think they're gonna do. There's so many good cop out endings in this. Or fake out endings, I should say.
Yeah.
At first you think it's gonna end with him standing in the snow.
Yeah.
Then you think it's ending with him getting dropped into hell, but then he wakes up and you're like, oh, they're doing it was all. First time I watched this, I was like, you sons, you.
I thought it was doing it all a dream, or I thought it was going to be like he's the only one that survived and none of his family remembers.
Right, and it's a warning for next time. But no, they're in a snow globe in Krampus's workshop in hell.
And the highlighted and the foreshadowing of that is pretty subtle too. It's just a kind of a white glow around the entire scene.
It's too bright.
It's too bright.
And at first you think they're doing it for artistic purposes because it makes it feel happy. Like in Home Alone when the family comes home and it's lit brighter than it should be.
Yeah, but it's a false sense of security. It's a trick.
And then they all stare and...
It's a weird purgatory that Krampus has
This
made.
isn't even a purgatory. I mean, depending on how... They're either trapped in a snow globe. I mean, they're definitely trapped in a snow globe. But, like, it leaves it ambiguous. Are they just going to have to repeat Christmas forever? Is it, like, no exit and hell is just, hi, you're with your family who you hate in this one house forever? Or is he going to keep sending minions after them just every night they have to go through that again?
Now, I have a question. He took that one house, but, their house. But also... does he just wipe out a town's power every time he comes in?
I have no idea. The film leaves that troublingly unclear. I mean, he is an ancient demon thing, that predates even Santa Claus. I mean, when we finally see Krampus and all of his elves and their clown and the Yule goat mustaches...
We have to dedicate a section for the monsters.
But when we finally see them, it's not a mistake that their little Christmas gathering around his sleigh as they're about to leave looks like some ancient, horrifying pagan ritual, or a Christian writer's impression of a pagan ritual. This thing is ancient. So it's possible it's so evil that it just took down the whole town. I mean,
even the grandmother has that one line, it's a spirit much older.
Yeah. And think about the fact that when they go into that house when they still don't realize it's a monster, and they see a gingerbread man stabbed to the wall or the fridge, and they think that the person who invaded the house stabbed the thing to the fridge. But afterwards we realize, no, the gingerbread man was attacking, and the family stabbed it to the fridge to save themselves. Which implies he did totally just wipe out a town just to get to these people. It's also possible that they were in the snow globe from the start. And that he literally, because their lights went out last, he literally teleported them there, and all of this wasn't. I don't think that that's what happened, but you could interpret it that way.
Yeah.
I like to think Krampus is just so evil that he basically wiped out a town in order to get to this town.
What a dick.
I mean, considering that he does actually... I mean, we think that they're dead, right? Their clown eats some people, they get dragged into the snow, and considering that they all wake up perfectly intact, I'm not going to say alive, perfectly intact in the underworld, it's possible Krampus just teleported everyone somewhere else to make sure that... But that's contradicted by the fact that the delivery driver is found frozen to death. Yeah, Krampus just killed a town because a family were jerks and their kids stopped believing in Christmas. That's the message of this movie. If any child in your town stops believing in Christmas because he has a bad family, Krampus will come and kill everyone, and they're the lucky ones.
Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Let's talk about the monsters.
Let's talk about the monsters. Okay, we have Der Clown.
I don't know the names of the rest of them because they're very long and they're all German.
We have the angel.
The creepy Christmas tree angel. The bear.
The
erector set robot.
Is that what that was?
It's some kind of a robot, dude. It looked like an erector set.
I thought it was kind of a play on, like, you know, the little robot dogs that you used to get for Christmas?
It might be those too. It looked like an abomination of erector sets and a robot dog. There was those. There was the elves.
And the
gingerbread men.
The gingerbread men.
And the Yule goats.
I gotta say my favorite one was the angel.
Okay.
Just because she stuck her weird little tongue out and went
in a creepy foreshadowing of Krampus's gross weird tongue. My favorite's Der Clown. No surprise there. Here's one thing that's really cool about this. I want to share this. I learned this on the director's commentary. With the exception of the gingerbread men, who were CGI for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
And good CGI, I might add. All of the monsters were practical effects.
Yeah, and that I think that's to an advantage and also a disadvantage, because whenever they're coming from a different direction or they're apart from the actual people, it's intimidating. But whenever they're actually wrestling with the humans, it just looks like a bunch of people wrestling with puppets or stuffed animals.
Which is kind of goofy, which I think is the intention, because again, they wanted this to be funny, and you and I were both laughing during the attic fight, despite the fact that we both visually recoiled when Der Clown is first shown devouring someone.
Oh yeah,
They made a jack-in-the-box that looks like a combination of a snake and like too many teeth and gums. It's one of the few really good modern scary clowns in my opinion, because to my mind, what's good about a scary clown is it takes something innocent and cute and it makes it horrifying. And when Der Clown is just a jack-in-the-box before the long, gross body and the creepy fangs come out, he does look kind of cute. I would get a jack-in-the-box with that clown face for a kid. It's cutesy. It's plush. It's porcelain and shiny.
Yeah, but when it
opens its mouth open,
mouth.
yes, it's big enough to swallow a child and has more teeth than Pennywise. It's grotesque. That's what works.
Hold on.
But here's the thing with the I don't want to get this out before I forget it. When they all go up in the attic and they first see the monsters and they go, "Oh, come on," and all that other stuff, the director didn't show them what the monsters looked like. He just told them, "You're going to the attic, you'll fight these monsters, they're all puppets, fight them. Here's your lines, react however you want." So what the heck, and you gotta be kidding me, that was their reactions on seeing, oh my god, he made this. What did he make? What did he make? Why are we fighting this? Why is it a gross clown? Why does the angel have a tongue? Why does the teddy bear have bear? What bear? And then a teddy bear. What was your thing?
He obviously took a lot of stuff from like Christmas toys and Christmas themes, but also he took a lot from just Krampus lore to integrate into it.
All right, let's talk about the Goat Man himself.
Krampus, I think it's a great monster design. Oh my god.
And they foreshadow it so well. Most of for like 80% of the film when he's on screen, we're just seeing a silhouette in the distance and his big cloak, his creepy parody of a Santa coat with a hood. All you see is this big looming thing with horns, and the one time he's close enough, all you can see is his hooves. So you know it's huge. He was a combination of CGI and practical effects. Obviously on the rooftop chase he's CGI.
Yeah.
When he's up close, though, it was both.
I wonder who they actually put in that costume.
Let me look that up.
Because whoever did is really good at physical acting. I'm gonna say something else though. I think it was a good move because you mentioned that the Santa Claus. So in this movie, Krampus has kind of an old decayed Santa Claus face.
Yeah.
And at first you think it's his face, but it turns out that his eyes are kind of set behind.
And his tongue is coming from too far back, and in a couple of shots, it almost looks like he has more teeth than he should inside the mouth.
Right. So it's obviously a mask,
And there was a minor critical fan controversy among people who watched the movies of why doesn't he look like a goat? All these cool designs for Krampus, and you went with gross Santa Claus. But it's not just that his eyes are set back. His face never moves or expresses. And I think part of the reason it doesn't move or express, well, obviously it's not think. The reason it doesn't move or express is because it's a mask, obviously. One thing that's cool and creepy, the director in interviews and commentaries very deliberately refuses to say whose face he's wearing. He says that the art intention was for him to be wearing a human face, but I'm not telling you whose face it is.
Ugh.
Which to me gives the... Maybe it's me, maybe I'm just sick. But to me that gives the uncomfortable proposition that he's wearing Santa's face.
Or maybe just I would hope it was just a mall Santa's face.
Maybe. Like, the first time you saw it, your exact words were, "Oh, so they went with a decaying Santa."
Like that nice drunk mall Santa from the Twilight Zone.
But that wasn't a nice drunk mall Santa. That was a long beard and a very old face. And here's the thing. In this universe, Krampus is obviously real because, Jesus, we just watched him take a town. But people buy their kids Christmas presents. Nobody's going, oh yes, of course Santa's real because he leaves presents for kids. But because Krampus is real, it implies Santa used to be real. Is the movie implying that Krampus killed Santa and now there's only the bad Santa?
I never got that sense.
You have to think about this way too hard, and if there's anything I'm good at, it's thinking about movies too hard.
Yeah, you usually overanalyze. I usually analyze just enough.
Yeah. But still, the presence that thing has. Oh, yeah, I found the actor. He was played by a man called Luke Hawker. And let's see if Luke
What else
Hawker
has he done?
Let's see. He's been in Krampus. He had a minor role in King Kong. I don't know who he played in King Kong. He was in. Oh, he did special effects. He was on. So he's a special effects guy. He did special effects for King Kong. He did special effects for Spectral. Special effects for Elysium. He played Mother in the movie I Am Mother. So he was the robot thing in that. He was a granddad in the movie Small Blacks. He was Krampus in Krampus.
So a minor actor and like special
effects guy.
Special effects
guy.
He
played a goblin in The Hobbit.
So obviously he knows how to wear special effects stuff and he knows how to move in it.
Yeah.
And he knows how to work with it. So I'm guessing this guy.
Seriously, in everything else he's in, if he's not a monster, he's some random unnamed extra like The Passenger or Private Muller or Army Private.
He probably just likes to be in his own movies that he works on.
He was an investor in Black Sheep. Maybe, who knows? Dude was great in that. I mean, granted, you can't see his face at all and it's all movement, but still, the long fingers, the sack.
I think the production design of this movie was really good.
This guy makes. If we're still around in when it comes, we got to watch Trick or Treat for next Halloween.
Right.
Because same director. That was his first movie. This was his second. I want to see this is what this guy does for Easter. He's done terrifying Santa. He's done terrifying Trick or Treat. Let's see what creepy Easter looks like. When this movie came out, I think part of the reason they didn't go with the goat design is, again, with the comedy thing, Krampus does look a little silly.
Yeah.
He's creepy, but he's a little silly. In fact, when this movie first got announced,
he kind of has those happy eyes.
The happy eyes and the face is long.
He's a little bit too grinning too much when he's torturing you.
He's having fun. There's a reason that almost everything that's done anything with Krampus is like American Dad did a version of him where he turns out to be the good guy and he's funny. When this movie came out, there was a lot of ripoffs. I don't know if there were ripoffs or they just said, ooh, Krampus is a thing now. Sort of like when Jaws came out, there was a bunch of animal attack movies. So there was Krampus Unleashed, Mother of Krampus 2, Krampus 2, Krampus the Revenge. All of them worse written, all of them with a worse budget. Some of them are fun, like in that whole, let's turn on this movie and watch people who don't know what they're doing, are only acting this way because the plot said they're going to act, get murdered by the bad CGI goat man.
Yeah.
But they're fun, but they're not good.
I gotta say, watching the trailers for this movie when it initially came out was my first introduction to it. I was like, what the heck's Krampus? And I looked it up.
You've never heard of Krampus before?
No.
Yeah. Well, because it never really made it to the States outside of Hollywood and stuff. There were a couple of things done with this beforehand. This sort of an idea. And Krampus isn't the only demon that's associated with Santa Claus. Yeah, a lot of the Slavic and Germanic areas have Santa have demons. There's the Yule Boys, which are, I don't remember if it's a 7 or a dozen. It's a whole bunch of
Sounds
little
like a
dwarves.
f***ing boy band.
Well, it's a bunch of dwarves that go around torturing people on Christmas if they've been naughty.
The Yule Boys with a Z.
Their mother, who, remember that movie I just mentioned, Mother of Krampus? That she was actually the mother of the Yule Boys, and she's a cannibal who was cursed to attack people on Christmas. There's Father Knocker, who's Santa Claus in a black suit who beats people with sticks. There's another one who I can't remember who's basically Santa, but his beard and his skin and his eyes and his clothes are all as black as coal, and he works with Santa, terrifying the children. Krampus, I guess, is the biggest one because A, there was the most postcards and stuff with it. B, he's got the most interesting design because he's not just Santa, but gross. He's Santa, but goat demon.
Can I ask
and
a question?
The name.
The grandmother in the movie.
Yeah.
So she stays behind.
Right.
And the boy says, "Oh, she's trying to help. She wants to face him." And then she faces him, and she just kind of, what influence does she have? She just kind of stands there.
Well, that's part of the point, because you gotta remember, even the dad with the gun didn't stop him.
Because I think her motivation is less protect the family and more just like,
face her fears.
Is it my turn now?
It might be, and they leave it ambiguous. It might be the survivor's guilt of her own family.
I think it's that.
I think if we're gonna give her the generous interpretation, and I want to because she's the nicest person in the film, I do think she thought Krampus would have to slow down to get her, and he does stop for a minute to have his toy minions stuff her into the sack and to creepily, grossly lick at her face and wipe her tear away with his gross, long Krampus fingers. But that's part of the horror of it, isn't it?
Yeah.
She stays behind to stop him, or to distract him.
I like that they have a moment, though.
They have a moment, and they needed a chance to show us that design in an intimate, close setting and show off that tongue that shows up in all the postcards. But she doesn't slow him down. A gun doesn't slow him down. Nothing slows this thing down. It's unstoppable. If you summon Krampus...
It's like Michael Myers. Even if you shoot him and he falls off of a balcony into a pool, he's not going to die.
Yeah, only with more justification.
Yeah, not just, oh, he's the boogeyman.
It worked in the first movie, and they should have stopped there. They wanted to stop there. We'll touch on Halloween another episode.
Ooh, gotta listen for the future.
I did like, I mentioned this at the beginning, they reference some other things, like when he throws away the Christmas letter and wishes that his family go away, it gives it a sort of a Home Alone vibe.
Yeah.
There was that moment when you said there it is when they're watching the stop motion elf.
There's two Rankin Bass moments. There's the flashback, and then there's the elf on the television.
There's the little elf on the television that looks like a really crappy knockoff of Rankin Bass with the bright colors. It looks like Herbie the elf from Rudolph doing the speech from the Bible the way they do it in Charlie Brown, which we were talking about earlier. The flashback, though, out of nowhere, gorgeous CGI made to look like stop motion.
Yeah.
I mean, beautiful.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, and it's CGI made to look like stop motion, but it's really good. It's not like, it doesn't
look cheesy.
Yeah, it doesn't look cheesy.
They took care with it. CGI, people rag on CGI a lot these days, and I don't think CGI in and of itself is the problem.
And if it can mimic that, that's probably a time-saving process.
Exactly.
Too.
Well, that's why they made the Lego movie.
I mean, I got a lot of respect for the studios that do that, like the
Studio Leica,
and the people who do the Wallace and Gromit and Chicken Run and all that.
Yeah, that's more claymation, but still, this is a form of stop motion.
It takes a long time and it's really good.
Yeah. But I mean, yeah, if you're gonna use CGI, that's not a bad thing. It's just use it in an intelligent way. Make it look good. Practical effects, people love to, and I myself am guilty of this too. I will praise practical effects until the day is done. But crappy practical effects still look crappy.
Yeah.
I'd say there are some practical effects that look worse than bad CGI.
And now we're in the heyday of, now especially we're in the heyday of practical effects where you can do just about anything with a decent budget.
And the
Marvel movies have proven that.
Well, a lot of the Marvel movies are green screened, let's be honest.
Yeah, a lot of them are, but like, if you don't think Thanos is actually throwing a planet at Iron Man.
Right, yeah. I get that. a lot of things that are really good, and we got to watch some of his movies later on this show, is, and I'm blanking on his name. He directed Hellboy. He directed Pan's Labyrinth.
Oh, Guillermo del Toro.
Guillermo del Toro.
I love his movies.
The king of mixing practical effects with CGI. He does everything practical that he possibly can, and then he pushes it just a bit further with CGI. Because for honest, you can't do Pacific Rim practical effects without the budget of a small nation.
You know what? You know who I wish made a horror movie? Robert Rodriguez.
Oh.
The Spy Kids guy.
Okay.
Yeah, because he makes those low-budget kids movies for, like...
And he gets so many big-name actors because he worked with Quentin Tarantino and learned how to make movies quickly and cheaply. And because everything's CGI, they're fun and they're visually distinct, but he films them in one soundstage in a month.
Yeah.
It's a little longer than a month, but a lot of the big actors, if people are ever like, why are there so many famous big-budget actors in a Robert Rodriguez movie? He's a fun guy to work with, and they needed 2 days of filming for an entire film. Boom, something your kids can watch. Don't make your kids watch Krampus until they're 13, says the MPAA ratings.
Yes. Who can the MPAA?
Yeah, oh man, it doesn't work. It's flawed. We'll discuss why it's flawed later. I'm too tired, a little too eggnog.
There are so many editorials about the
Okay, you know what?
MPAA.
Actually, going back to the director's commentary for this movie.
Yeah.
Do you know... Okay, you just watched this film.
Yeah.
Krampus dragging people into hell. Evil teddy bear. Their clown devouring a child alive with those horrible
And it's
fangs.
PG-13.
Do you know what almost pushed it from PG-13 to R? Like, the rating people contacted him and said, we're reviewing this, you gotta be very careful with this.
It was a swear word, wasn't it?
It wasn't a swear word.
What was it?
There's that scene where the terrible fat trailer trash aunt, who turns out to be a nice person later, but whatever, shows the kids how to make peppermint schnapps.
Yeah.
And she gives the kid a sip of the peppermint schnapps.
Was it that?
It was that. Showing an underage child drinking alcohol, if portrayed in the wrong light, can push a movie from PG-13 to R. None of the monsters, not the dragged into hell, not the horrifying baby being dragged off by a creepy Christmas
They
elf.
swore so much in this movie.
They didn't drop any F-bombs, though.
They didn't, but I thought
You get one F-bomb in a PG-13 movie.
How many... Oh my god. How many of those other swear words do you have?
I don't know.
What's the counter on all of those other things?
I don't know. I do know...
One
that there
F-bomb
is a
sends you to R.
No, 2. You get 1 in any PG-13 movie.
Really?
Yes. You can put 1 F-bomb.
Yeah,
in
but you
any
can't have as
PG-13
many
movie.
other swear words. as
Yes,
you have
it's a
one.
limit. Okay, here's the thing. When they made South Park bigger, longer, and uncut,
Yeah.
they deliberately used 1 less than the number of swears it would have taken to push it from R to NC-17. One of the ways they did it, and we'll beep this one in the final thing, but the song, your fucking face, Uncle Fucker,
Yeah.
motherfucker is a worse swear than fuck. So they couldn't use motherfucker and still get as many swears as they wanted in, so they changed it to Uncle Fucker because that isn't as bad as motherfucker because it's not recognized as a thing, and it became funnier. Yeah, okay, the MPAA is insane. In Taxi Driver, do you know how they got away with the R rating?
Oh, we were getting on a tangent
We
now.
are, you're right. We'll talk about Taxi Driver later, and gore. So is there anything else we want to talk about with Krampus?
Have you got anything?
I mean, the monster design's gorgeous. Apparently the snow was actually diapers.
Just like
Shredded.
shredded diapers.
Usually they used to use feathers. Sometimes they'd use newspaper.
They use feathers. But
in this one, apparently, specifically, they shredded adult diapers.
Oh my god.
Well, did you want to send actors out in waist-deep snow?
Remember?
It's not the 60s anymore. The actors' unions exist. You can't torture your actors for
There's
your
a
film.
bunch. There's a bunch of different. I remember.
This isn't Evil Dead. We can't almost kill people.
Me and my co-host here are both actors and theaters and former theater students. I mean, we're not students, but like perpetual
You
students.
pretentious bastard.
Perpetual students of the art of whatever.
I'm gonna throw things at you.
Anyway, when we did our Christmas shows, they would have this like shredded up, I don't know, was it wax paper?
Yeah.
For our Christmas shows, and it would get swept up every night and then put back in this like net thing that we had hanging from one of the bars.
And you just shake it and it falls.
And you just shake it and it falls. Thing was, there were always nails and crap on our stage whenever.
And it would get swept up and dropped, wouldn't it?
I I'm surprised nobody ever got hit in the head with a nail or a lug
Well,
nut
they
or
were
something.
usually dropping it behind the thing, so you see it through a window. It wasn't ever getting dropped on an actor. Probably for that reason.
Yeah.
Woof.
Anyway.
They didn't. I thought it was in the credits. It might have been in the trailers. They do a really cool version of Carol of the Bells,
Right.
where they add lyrics to the first bit and make it about Krampus.
Yeah.
It's like, children take care, da 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 da.
They have a
da,
nice-
da, Krampus is here.
They have a nice Krampus.
Have a very scary Christmas.
Krampus advent calendar for the very end.
That's great. They do all the in the movie itself. They use a really old timey advent calendar made of wood with these little hand painted pictures, and you open the door. That way, it shows you the passage of time. It's a clever, creative way to show the passage of time. The kid makes his Christmas wish. What was it? The 23rd.
Yeah.
He makes it the 23rd, the night of the 23rd, and then the 24th comes in the middle of the attack, and then by the end of it, it's the 25th, and it's the fake out ending where you think it's happy, and I don't know, they're in a snow globe in hell.
Yeah.
There's a sentence. But during the credits, they open up the advent calendar to show vintage-looking photographs of the actors to credit them, and it's a Krampus advent calendar. And by God, I don't know if that was made or if those exist, but I want one.
There are so many like horror movie props that I want. Like
Yeah.
we'll talk about Babadook another probably another
we
time
gotta get
too.
to that one.
But I want the Babadook book. I like.
Yeah.
They printed quite a few of them.
I believe that. It'd be a good marketing thing. One more thing on the creature design. With the exception of the gross, frozen, rigor mortis Santa face mask, which is foreshadowed really cleverly because all of his minions are wearing a mask of some kind, or are just toys, but the elves all have creepy masks.
Yeah.
Reminds me of the goblins from Legend.
Yeah.
Anyway, everything in his design is very much something that's traditionally associated with him. He's got the goat horns, he's got the hooves, he's got the long tongue and the long fingers. The bells were supposedly put on Krampus's chains to warn people he was coming. The chains are there, implying at one point he was enslaved by Santa Claus. I can't get over the fact that the Germans just said, yeah, Santa enslaved a demon. This is my pet Krampus! What happened in Germany? And I don't mean the recent things. Like their legends have always been weird and bizarrely R-rated for children's stuff. You know, hi, we've got the guy who cuts off the thumbs of children who suck their thumbs. We've got the Earl King who steals your soul if you're sick and riding through the woods. So much weird, scary stuff. It's because they're descended from Vikings, isn't it? It's that they're Germanic Norse people. I don't know. I love it though. It's so cool. It inspires
It's
so
just
much
a
stuff.
real fan of corporal punishment during the holidays.
You
Slap that kid! Oh, mommy!
Okay, that happened.
We might cut that out.
No, it ain't. You know. Here's something. You know. I'm gonna get looks for this. I can sense it. I'm gonna say it anyway. This might be the wine and the eggnog talking, but this is a demon who whips people, right? With a stick. And in every time he's shown on a card, he's either stealing your kids or he's seducing a woman.
Yeah.
You just know somebody out there took this a fetish route.
Oh.
You know, with the way you harder, Krampus, you know somebody did that. It probably never got made into anything mainstream, but somebody, somewhere, made this a thing.
Rule 34 exists, we all know. Anyway. All right, well,
I think that's wrapping it up.
This was Krampus, everybody.
Krampus 2015, directed by, what was his name?
Todd something.
Yeah, it was a good name, too.
It is a good name. I'm not good with names, though.
Me neither.
It was Michael Dougherty.
Michael Dougherty. This has been Krampus, directed by Michael Dougherty. We are the Graveyard Ghouls. I have been Ghastly.
I have been
Gruesome.
Yeah.
Oh,
and we will see you next time.
Next
with
time.
the Twilight Zone.
With the Twilight Zone. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, everybody.